Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review of The Amazing Spider-Man issue 15. And this is a nice cover here, and it actually has some stuff that goes on in here. This was definitely at least enjoying to see the insanity that was going on. However, there are so many notes of other things that you have to check out either before this issue and after this issue that it's holy shit, man. Now granted, they do that is kind of just overloaded in my opinion, where it's alright, granted, I know that since Dark Web's going along and it's a Spider-Man thing that you can't really fucking avoid it, and you can't just be here's a just random ass story of Spider-Man doing fuck all kind of shit. You know what I mean? I understand, but there's also a kind of thing where it's if you're doing an event, at least do okay, the event thing, and then maybe have important kind of stuff also kind of fall out in the main issue. When I'm going through this, it talks about Inferno, of course, then Dark Web 1, which I'm okay. Then you gotta look at Venom 14 that's popping out. And then Dark Web Miss Marvel 1. It doesn't say anything about Gold Goblin in here, but I would imagine that there would be certain kind of stuff in there because it's Norman Osborn. But even by itself, this is still kind of enjoyable, at least, even though it's why the fuck is certain kind of stuff going on? Now, granted, most of it I got, but there's certain stuff that they do with Venom that I'm just isn't he trying to fight some other kind of shit? How does that affect that shit? So we kind of open up and we see this family kind of running away. The dude's those aren't seagulls, they're fucking gargoyles. And then we get this really fucking crazy ass art of this demonic kind of baby stroller thing being I want to eat your baby. No, wait, kiss it. No, I lied, I wanted to eat it. As they grab the baby out and they're kind of running away from it before it gets webbed up. And they're oh, thank God, Venom, your lethal protector. Who are you expecting? Now, see, granted, for me, I understood that, Eddie Brock had pretty much been the King in Black kind of thing. Even though that I didn't read completely into that, I at least had backup on this. I'm what the fuck? And they're ah, shit! They thought it was Spider-Man. He's would Spider-Man do this? As he then takes the baby and gives it a kiss. See? Nothing to be afraid of, which, it's cute for the baby, and it's just alright. Interesting. I don't mind Venom being a kind of weird kind of dude hero. It's just, I'm okay, what the fuck's going on? And then he's evidently I'll help people, but my objective right now is to eat Spider-Man's brain. Now, granted, the art is fucking on point. Even though I'm kind of somewhat juggling with the story, I'm just that is a really good fucking Venom thing right there. Just flying off as well as this. I mean, that's just fucking classic ass Venom right there. That's nuts right there. So then Spidey pretty much just tried to give us a lowdown of what's going on as he's swinging around and looking fucking awesome. Being alright, day's not going great. City's possessed. Last time this happened, the X-Men kind of dealt with it in Inferno. And it's alright, if they know what they're doing, they're hiding it well. He's trying to get to Osborn because there's a broken distress call. And he's I got no time to ask questions about ear-splitting screams from a bunch of tied-up Christmas trees. Which, by the way, nice line up of having it work around the same kind of time that it's coming out. Sweet Jesus, that's fucked up. He's also got flying books that are coming at his ass. Let's see here. Discarded Dean Koontz novels. He's Norman helped me when I lost Mary Jane, which gives us at least a little bit more information on kind of what the fuck happened. So Mary Jane somehow got lost or whatnot. What that completely and fully entails, I hope we learn. And he's hoping that Norman will help him now. But then we see that Chasm is standing over him. And he's oh yeah, your boss slipped and fell. It's okay. I do love the design and the energy kind of pulling off of Chasm. That's just on point there. Saying it's a hell of a night. He's calling him Ben, but he's no, call me Chasm. He's oh, dude, you're okay. He's I don't think you understand what's happening here. Of course, talking about Ben's fractured memories in 894, and you saying that he threw him away, he's going to steal the life back that he got from him, I'm going to get what I want. And Peter's like, this is all you? I can't let you do this shit. It's funny because Peter's like, I will talk to you, but why the fuck do we have like a possessed fucking city right now? Like, we could sit down, we could have some coffees, maybe an ice cream or two, you know? But he's like, you can't do this. And he's like, I thought you might say that, which is why your spidey sense should have just started tingling. He's like, oh wait, that doesn't work with him. He's like, what? And then, of course, Venom blasts in. Of course, that's a great shot right there. Oh, well, back to work. He's like, Eddie, no, we are Venom. And he's like, what the fuck's gotten into you? You sound dumber. It's like, we never thought more clearly. And I was like, okay. That's thinking clearly? Of course, then his little Spidey pack is like, hey, that's a symbiote. And I was like, thank you very much there, Bug. As he's like, grabs Peter with it, and he's like, we'll give you one guess what we want. It rhymes with brains. It's brains, isn't it? You want to eat my brains? Yep. Too bad! Punch! I love that it, like, works with, like, how big the lettering is and the crack going on. And then we then pop off and we see that, like, Ben is just gathering, you know how you do technical jargon? Like, hacking into the firewall of, now granted that's not like real tech jargon, it's like you understand a firewall to like protect shit and everything, but like gobbledygook, he is like spouting off all these weird arcane things like the lies of 6 bleeding ones, the acrid tears of Kalak, the cleft socket, and the binding tome of Balakan. And then Ms. Marvel's like, yeah, are you the jerk who beat up my boss? Or, I mean, the boss of a good friend of mine. It's like, yeah, you gotta work on that. I'm Miss Marvel. I don't work here. Does your good friend know Peter Parker? I'm planning a party, and I need guests. She's aware of him, maybe? What are you talking about? I need practice anyway. May mighty Kalak see you, as he then pretty much binds her. It's like, okay. And then he's doing this, and I'm like, am I doing this right? I do like the whole kind of thing of Ben doing this kind of stuff. He's kind of out of his element. I'm like, am I doing this right? This magic kind of shit? I was like, yep. Alright, who's next? As we then get to Spidey and Venom cracking out. It's like, yeah, Art's on point with it. Talking about how his Spidey sense would usually see that coming. Maybe he relies on it more than he'd like to admit. He recalibrates his fighting style real quick. He just, Venom's made it quite clear he's not going to get that. He's talking about how this is easier than I thought. Your brain's probably so small that I need it one bite. Pete's like, fuck that. It's a 4-course dinner, fuckface. Granted, I have the fucks for my own emphasis. He's like, it's weird that I'm getting offensive about this. Yeah, I'm flustered, okay? Spidey says this is the only trick I have. I can also run! Granted, that's to pretty much get into a better kind of space. We get to the Threats and Menaces office, where Jonah Jameson is like, I just saw a cab shank an Uber for a passenger. I'm seeing some fucked up shit right now. He's like, alright, Christmas is canceled, we're working late, people, New York's gone to hell, and we're going to own the story. Hate to break it to you, Jameson, New York's not the only thing going to hell, as we get Ben going at him. So we then see Pete have to deal with a sentient newsstand as he takes one of these manga, and he's like, I'll apologize it later. And Venom's like, oh, you run out of breath, little spider? Maybe your lungs are sad and pathetic as your flavorless brain. I'm not going to be baited into debate on my brain's flavor profile with you, sicko. I got other plans. As he starts lighting on fire, he's like, that's not going to do shit to me. It's like, oh no, it's not going to scare you. And it's going to scare the Christmas trees as they scream and do a Sonic thing. So that's a really cool and smart kind of move for Pete to kind of do there. So he then punches the shit out of him and he's like, who's got the tasty brain now? And we see that, like, Eddie and Venom are kind of, like, fucked up. The trees are screaming that he's a monster and he's bloodthirsty and shit. And then he's like, I was just bluffing. Eddie looks weird, almost plastic. Is there even a human being under there or just a bad memory? So it's like, okay, definitely something up. As we then get the Goblin Queen popping up. It's like, looks like you got something that belongs to me. And on this particular night, that's a very dangerous thing. Let me have him. No, we have work to do. It's like, oh, you really just look like. And before he could pop it out, she's like, nope, I get that. Don't say her name. I might get upset and take your mouth. And he's like, is that something you can do? Quite. But you better keep it shut because forget why we're here. No, forget we were here. We're doing secret work that requires Eddie Brock. It's like, all right, sure, whatever. And they've got fucking sentient post boxes taking him. He's like, Pete's like, hold on a minute, he's fucking unhinged. She's like, nah, it's alright. And he's like, he was gonna try and eat my fucking brain. He's like, alright, yeah, he's a lot unhinged. Fine, whatever. But you got other things to worry about. It seems our mutual friend has completed all of his chores. And hello, Peter, where were we? And granted, that's another fucking amazing kind of one. I was just like, yeah, alright. So it's like, well, this isn't gonna go well. I did have enjoyment out of this issue. However, seeing all the different kind of things that you have to read to get the full story is just nuts. I don't mind an event having an effect on a comic, but when it pops off, you gotta know this kind of old school kind of event, which a little bit of history I'm fine with. But all these other kind of things going on, and Venom the last time I checked was doing shit that had to deal with what was the last time I saw him was fucking around with Thor and his King in Black kind of stuff, and I'm just like, what the fuck? It's just woo. Now granted, Spidey and him fighting a kind of classic kind of Venom fight mashup, I had enjoyment out of. It's just getting to that execution part of it being like, alright. And Ben doing this stuff with the magic, I don't mind. But I just kind of rather would have just had it focused on Ben doing that and him trying to figure out what's kind of going on with magic and doing stuff that's normally kind of outside of his wheelhouse and doing the whole kind of thing with Peter. And I think it would have just been better to focus on with Chasm doing that kind of stuff and going up against Peter in this issue rather than having the Venom kind of bit and having that kind of muddy it with alright. I really would have been interested to see them kind of bouncing back and forth as Ben is grabbing all these different kind of things for his magical kind of ceremonies and whatnot that he would need to do to get Peter's soul. So we'll kind of have to see where this kind of works out. It's not that I'm not having enjoyment out of this. I love seeing the art and the character work and the voice of Peter that they got for it, and even also what's kind of going on with Ben. It's just muddied in certain executions that I think could be better. So those are my opinions on the issue. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.